Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Ghosts in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Vector CRB. This is a very dangerous submachine gun if you know how to use it properly, and as you'll see from my gameplay today, I managed to play very well and very aggressive with it. You're going to get to see mostly very aggressive Vector gameplay using the red dot sight, iron sights, and EOTech. I believe iron sights I'm rocking a silencer. Longer clips than normal. I do hope you enjoy it, and before we jump into the nuts and bolts of this gun, I would like to talk about a few mistakes that I made in the last two in-depth episodes. Number one is that in the two episodes back, I said that heavy duty health was 125. This was an error in my testing because, as I said in the video, I could only test it in public matches. There was no private match testing, so I had to do this while people thought J-Hub and I were boosting and I was dodging being trapped in corners and stuff. And I got a little bit off. I said it was 125. It's actually 130 health, so thank you for pointing that out to me. And this came from the PC code, by the way. So heavy duty health 130. Made two small mistakes in the Vector episode. The Vector actually has the largest magazine amongst submachine guns. For some reason I thought that the Bison had the largest mag. I think I was just thinking about the PP90 from MW3, and I made a small error on the aim down sight's time. It's actually 0.25 seconds instead of 0.2 seconds. That means it has a slightly slower ADS than normal on submachine guns, which is probably why I liked it more with quick draw. Now that we're done with all that, let's talk about the Vector. The damage on the Vector is 45 to 20, 45 damage up close, 20 at a distance. That's 3 to 5 shots to kill. However, that 45 damage is the highest maximum damage that submachine guns deal. This is the big high damage submachine gun as long as you're relatively close to the enemy. It's actually very similar damage to the Remington R5 and AK-12, so it is very, very dangerous, and keep that in mind, especially close quarters combat. 20 at a distance isn't too shabby either for SMGs. Headshots give you 1.5x bonus damage, often causing you to need less bullets to kill. The 3-shot kill range is also impressive. It's got one of the better 3-shot kill ranges for submachine guns, all the way out to 21 meters. That's more like an assault rifle in most cases. However, the 5-shot kill range is 24 meters, so between 21 and 24 meters we're going to drop 2 bullets to kill, and this is a very sharp and steep drop, and what this is going to indicate is that the Vector is very good up close and not so good at longer ranges, or you would think that. But next we need to talk about the rate of fire and the recoil and all these sort of things. The rate of fire is 759 RPM. This is the slowest of all submachine guns. This is slower than most of the assault rifles in the game, so do keep in mind the Vector is a very slow firing weapon. However, it still maintains a moderate time to kill at most ranges, mostly because of the very high initial damage. The 20 at long ranges isn't too bad. 5 shots to kill for an SMG isn't so bad, and I consider it one of the more accurate SMGs, so I don't really have problems with how it kicks, and I don't miss too often, which we skipped ahead a little bit. The recoil on this weapon is moderate. The kick is very random. It's one of the few weapons that has sort of omnidirectional kicks. Some of them go up, some of them actually go down, or drag to the left or drag to the right. This one will kick equally in almost every direction, so the best tip that I can give you on how to control the Vector is to put the sights at them and just spray and hold down the trigger, and it'll kind of bounce around and cross and swipe the target. If you try to autocorrect too much off a center, you're going to go astray, and that's not a good thing. Hip fire accuracy is good. It's a submachine gun. They all spray from the hip very well. This one has an aim down sights time of 200 milliseconds or 0.2 seconds, same as all of the other submachine guns, except of course for the Vector, because we talked about that, but yes, I double checked and got that right. Reload time is very fast on the Vector, which is good. The most important thing here is that the cancel time is 1.4 seconds, and most of you reload cancel with the sprint cancel, and that's probably the fastest amongst submachine guns, if not the second fastest, so you can reload the Vector very, very fast. Sleight of hand won't be needed. Magazine count is pretty normal, 32 rounds in the mag, 48 with extended mags, nothing too special there. Iron sights I'm going to classify as being good enough. The iron sights are clear enough to where I can see my targets at close, and I can see them pretty good at far ranges. They're a little bit obstructive on the sides. They do kick up a little bit, but it's not too bad. I really don't have any problems with the Vector iron sights. However, if I'm going to play it on a longer range map, I usually prefer to use optics, and the gameplays that you're seeing here, I'm just kind of use optics for funsies. I'm using the EOTech and Sovereign of all things, but it's also okay with optics because some people might not like the iron sights. There's nothing wrong with a red dot, EOTech, VMR, thermal. There's a lot of great sights for this gun. I probably would not recommend the ACOG. Oh yes, tracker sights also very good. Fan favorite there because of the low levels of zoom and idle sway. So there's no shame in putting optics on your Vector if you don't really like the iron sights. How would I classify this submachine gun? I would call this a very high damage submachine gun that's very good at close quarters combat. That 45 damage per shot is very, very high. If your enemy is weakened just a little bit by a grenade or one other bullet from other guy, you'll kill him in 2 shots. And the time to kill up close is pretty competitive with the other submachine guns, though it is a tad slow. And I think the thing that really helps the time to kill is the slower rate of fire makes your recoil easier to control, and you are able to get more shots on target than some of the other faster firing spraying SMGs. If you like an accurate submachine gun that you can kind of count your hit markers as they come, you might like the Vector. It's probably not the most competitive weapon if you're on the MLG scene, but it's by no means a bad submachine gun. I mean, look at my gameplay. I'm doing really good with it here. And as I've said before, the recoil has a good feel to it. I feel like most of my bullets are going where they're going with only where I want them to go, mind you, with only a little bit of wobble on the sights, and that probably has to do with the relatively low rate of fire making it easier for me to understand how it's cooking and correct it with my hands and that sort of thing. Today I'm not going to give you a recommended class for the Vector because I believe this is a very rough and tumble submachine gun, unlike the Vepr or the K7 or something like an MTAR, where it's very specialized and you have to use some things. The Vector, you can use whatever you want. You want more 3-shot kill range? Nothing wrong with the muzzle brake. You want to go silenced? It's good silence too. You like sights? Good. Don't like them? Use the iron sights. They're great. Foregrip helps. It's not really needed. Rapid fire is not bad. Extended mags are good. There's nothing really wrong or bad with the Vector. There's no the Vector. There's no ideal class for it. So I would tell you that this could be a sort of rough and tumble submachine gun. It's always good to pick up. It can go on any class that you have right now. Any sort of perks you have, you can probably take them off and put the Vector on and play very well with them. Well guys, that's all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode on the Vepr, you can click the box on the left. That'll open a new window. If you'd like to check out the next episode, which is on the CJB MS, you can click that box and it'll open in a new window when it's live. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drifter out.